Hey there, welcome to Amina's Path. A few years back, after some serious life shake-ups, I made a big decision. I needed to be kind to myself. I realized that happiness isn't some finish line you cross. It's something you build day by day, living in the moment and surrounding yourself with people who lift you up. Amina's Path is where I'm inviting you to join me on this journey, sharing my thoughts, my experiences, and the encounters that have changed me. If you're ready to move forward with kindness, come walk this path with me. Hey there, and welcome to the very first episode of Amina's Path. I'm so glad you're here. Today, I want to talk about something we all run into, those little phrases we hear all the time, the ones that, without even realizing it, start to shape how we think, how we act, and sometimes how small we play. And I don't think I'm the only one who feels this way. These phrases, they sneak into our everyday lives, so common, so familiar, we barely notice them anymore. But they have power, and I believe they quietly shape the way we live and the way we see ourselves. So I want to share a few of these phrases with you and tell you what they've meant in my life. When I first started talking about this podcast, this very first episode, I'd mentioned these limiting phrases, and you know what happened? People would instantly jump in with their own. That's when I knew I was onto something, because it's not just about listening. It opens up real, meaningful conversations. So I invite you, whether you're listening right now or reflecting afterward, talk about these phrases, say them out loud, share your stories, drop a comment, message me. I'd love to hear from you. Now, before I hit record on this episode, something happened that hit this topic right on the nose. It's personal, and it shook me in a really meaningful way. Let me tell you what happened. That morning, I was brushing my daughter's hair. She's almost 8 now. Mornings are busy, so I help speed things up a bit. She's got this beautiful thick hair, but it gets tangled. And that day, I tugged a little too hard on a knot. She winced. I stopped right away and said, "Sweetie, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you." And what she said next, it stopped me cold. She looked at me and said, "It's okay. I'm used to it with Dad." It was like a gut punch. And I thought, wait, what? Did she just say that? I looked at her and said, "Sweetheart, listen, you can't just get used to pain. Sure, people get used to things, but you don't have to. If something hurts, I want you to speak up. Whether it's me or your dad, say it. Say, hey, that hurts. I promise. We'll listen. We'll do better. You don't have to just endure it." And as I said that, a memory came rushing back crystal clear. Me, around her age, maybe 6, sitting on the floor, my mom behind me brushing my hair. Same thing. She tugged too hard and it hurt. I remember saying, "Mom, that hurts." And she replied, and I'll never forget this, "You have to suffer to be beautiful." Wow, that phrase. She didn't mean harm. It was just something she had been told growing up. Back then, people said things like that. It was just the way it was. But in that moment, I saw it all so clearly. Me as a little girl, my daughter now, this whole pattern being passed down. And here's the thing. I used to say that phrase too, without even thinking, but I didn't say it this time. Not because I made some conscious promise to never repeat it, but because I've changed. I've done the work. That phrase, it doesn't have a grip on me anymore. So I shared that memory with my daughter, and I said that I believed it for a long time. And I think a lot of women know exactly what I mean. We're told beauty takes pain. Waxing, skincare routines, shapewear, you name it. Even the solutions like laser hair removal, they're not exactly pampering spa days, right? And hey, more and more men are feeling it now too because they're also caring for themselves. So maybe, just maybe, we're moving past this idea that suffering is required for beauty. And you know what? I'm so proud that I told my daughter something different. A week later, she was back from her dad's place. We were brushing her hair again and I asked, "Hey love, did you tell Dad if it hurt?" And she said, "Yeah, I did." And my heart just lit up. But you know what made me even prouder? Her dad's response. Because you never really know how someone's going to react, right? But he listened. He apologized. He told her he'd be more careful. That was such a win. And I couldn't believe, as I was prepping this episode, this whole real life thing happened that perfectly illustrated the point. It reminded me, we can break the cycle. We don't have to pass down these phrases like family heirlooms. I even brought it up with my mom. She didn't remember that moment, brushing my hair, because what sticks with one person doesn't always stick with another. But she said, back then, that's just how things were. Now I see it differently. We're meant to care for ourselves, love ourselves, do things that feel good. And that really struck me. Was it because I was working on this podcast that I noticed it? I don't think so, but it definitely got me thinking. Like I said, when I started talking about this with others, people came back with their own limiting phrases, their own quotes. There's one that really gets to me personally. When you open up to someone about your situation, about wanting to grow or move forward, you often set the scene. Here's my life, here's what's going on, here's where I want to go. And a lot of times, at least in my world, people will say, come on, there are people way worse off than you. Be grateful. There are folks living in war zones. I think that's such a harsh thing to say because it mixes up complaining with wanting to grow. People brush off what you're saying without even hearing you out, just telling you, hey, count your blessings. But no, we can't stop there. When I think about those people in war zones, in really tough situations, I feel like we almost have a duty to find solutions, to move forward, to do better. If everyone got up and did that work on themselves to feel better, to be happier, wouldn't the world be a better place? And wouldn't that help those people in extreme situations too? Maybe it's a butterfly effect. And sure, some might call me a dreamer, but I think we need to hold on to that spark of hope, that magic. It's what keeps us moving forward. There's another phrase that crossed my path and really made me think. I've grown since then, thanks to other conversations and podcasts. It's the phrase, nobody's indispensable. That's a tough one because as a person, you're unique, one of a kind. We hear it a lot in the workplace. Let me explain. I thought about someone on my team who went through a rough patch. She carried this burden for years and it wore her down. When she finally found a way forward, she realized her body was sending warning signals. It hadn't totally given out, but it was telling her she needed to take care of herself. She came to us, explained what was going on, and said she needed some time off. Her doctor put her on leave to recover. And get this, she was apologizing for taking that time for herself. That really hit me hard. I thought, man, what kind of world are we living in? When you're dedicated to your job, you almost feel ashamed to take care of yourself, like you have to apologize for it when you should be proud. That phrase, nobody's indispensable, got me thinking. What if we flipped it? Sure, we can cover someone's work temporarily while they take time to recharge and come back stronger. What if we said, nobody's indispensable, we'll handle your work while you focus on you. Take the time you need and we'll be thrilled to have you back. Later, I heard a podcast that put it in a way that clicked for me. Someone said, people are irreplaceable. It's the work that can be replaced. And that's so true. There's a nuance we often miss. As a human, I'm unique, irreplaceable. But the job I do, someone else can step in for a bit, and it's not the end of the world. I see this as a two-part way to free yourself. First, tell yourself, I'm unique, I'm important, I need to take care of myself and put myself first. Second, realize my work, someone else can handle it for a while. You've got two choices. Either you recognize your situation, take a step back, take time for yourself, and someone covers your role temporarily, or you ignore it, neglect yourself. And when you finally break, it might be permanent, and it'll take way longer to bounce back. Nothing's impossible, but everyone's got their own journey. I believe that by breaking down these phrases, understanding them, we can avoid getting caught up in misconceptions. And the ones that are just plain wrong, maybe it's time to let them go. One last bonus story. A friend of mine, who's about 20 years older than me, shared a phrase her mother used to tell her when she was young. Why bother studying? You'll get married and a man will take care of you. This belief surprisingly came from her own mother, even though my friend grew up in Switzerland, a place often associated with valuing education and independence. It just goes to show that limiting beliefs can pop up in any culture, even one as progressive as hers. But my friend saw things differently. She pursued her studies, found a job she loves, and is thriving. She didn't let those words define her path, and she's built a fulfilling life, relationship included, on her own terms. Sometimes people say things without thinking because it's just what they've been taught. So let's break free from tough situations and challenge these limiting beliefs, no matter where they come from. Thanks for sharing this moment with me. Every little step counts. If you like this episode, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. Catch you soon on Amina's Path.